What's up, guys? It's Tony here. Welcome back to Man Cave Studios. Today, I'm going to be doing my early July projections for the Electoral College map. But in today's video, I'm going to be making it a little bit different because I'm trying to make all of these types of videos a little bit different. In that I'm going to be looking at this from Trump's strategy towards victory. But I'm also going to be highlighting some of the campaign finance numbers. Um, some of the states that Biden is leading in, and then showing what it looks like right now. But to kick off this video, I'll show you what it looks like for the Trump campaign, or what the Trump campaign strategy is. So here's the vote count right now. It's the same as last time. Biden's up 212 to 116 in guaranteed electoral votes. And Trump is up 87 to 36 in votes that are likely for him, but that includes Texas, Ohio, etc. And then there are 87 swing votes. So this is what the map looks like for the Trump team. They're projecting that they're going to win in Florida and North Carolina and Arizona, which are swing states that may or may not go in favor of Trump. Florida is showing that Biden's in the lead on average by 6.3% in the average poll. Um, Arizona is showing that Biden is up by 3.1%, so it's still a pretty thin margin. Trump could definitely flip that before the election, and even if he doesn't, that's still within the margin of error. And North Carolina is also at 3.2%. So these are states that Trump is hoping that he's going to win in. Florida is obviously the critical one for him to win, but they're projecting that they're going to start with 260 electoral votes. So they're going to manage to make Florida close before the election, and then it's going to wind up being red on election night, and then they're going to wind up making that a Republican state. It's going to wind up going for Trump. So this is the Trump strategy. Nevada and New Hampshire are two states that are likely for Democrats right now. They're likely to go towards Biden. But what the Trump campaign is seeing, or what they're thinking right now, is that Michigan is going to go for Biden. It's already projected to be likely for Biden. Um, and then they also think that Pennsylvania, which is now polling at um, depending on the polls you look at, Pennsylvania is trending around the same rate as Michigan in terms of Biden. Most of the recent polls show differently. Most of the polls show a 2% difference, but they still show that Biden has a lead in Pennsylvania. But he has an even bigger lead in Wisconsin, which is problematic for the Trump campaign. So this is what they're seeing right now. They're trying to get to the 270 mark, and with the Supreme Court outlawing faithless electors, or letting states outlaw faithless electors from casting votes for other candidates, which was a problem in 2016. There were 7 faithless electors in that election. Um, a lot of states are probably going to outlaw that. So Trump's goal now is 270. And I kept New Mexico blue for a long period of time. I should have had that as a swing state too, in Trump in the campaign's eyes, because that is what they think, that they can flip New Mexico. I don't think so. New Mexico has been blue since at least 2012, probably also went blue in 2008. I think that this is out of question for the Trump campaign. Um, it's a lot harder to flip at the rate that New Mexico is polling right now. It's polling at 8.3%. They might as well go after Minnesota or just go after Wisconsin, because they have a better chance of winning in those states than they do in New Mexico. So the only path to victory in the eyes of the Trump campaign is through New Hampshire and Nevada. Nevada is polling around the same rate, or around the average of these 3 swing states. If you combine the polling average, it's polling around the same rate, which is why Nevada's it's going to be pretty hard for the Trump campaign to win. In New Hampshire, Biden has kind of taken a lead. It looked sketchy at first. It looked like it might be a swing state in the general election. At the beginning of April, it was at 3%. And then it kind of slid away from Trump. At the beginning of May, it was 5%, and then it stayed the same at June 1st. And then July 1st, it was up to 8%, 8.4% in favor of Biden. So Biden right now he has a pretty concrete lead in these states. I think that the only reasonable way that Trump can win this election is through Wisconsin, um, which is a state that uh, was one of few states that the later polls in the election showed in favor of Hillary by a pretty large margin that Trump still managed to win. Um, I think Wisconsin is, a lot of it is rural, so a lot of the population isn't accounted for in polls. Um, but it could definitely happen that Wisconsin winds up um, being red, even though it's showing Biden in the lead by so much. But later polls in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Florida showed either a razor thin margin between Hillary and Trump, or they showed Trump in the lead, but also by a razor thin margin. A lot of people complain that the polls were wrong in 2016. A lot of them were within the margin of error at the end of the general election season as we started November. A lot of the polls taken showed that, again, Hillary was only up by like 2% or less, or they showed Trump up by less than a percent. Um, I think it was Florida that showed Trump was up by 0.4% in the average of all polls taken from November 1st to November, what was it, 6th or 8th? I don't remember when the exact date of the general election that year was. But these are states trending very in favor of Biden right now. And Biden's running a very different campaign from Hillary Clinton. Bernie endorsed him earlier. A lot of Bernie supporters have since come around since Bernie dropped out and gone on to support the Biden campaign, especially in June with Trump and you know his dealing with Black Lives Matter, and how he's reacted to the whole situation. And then, in addition to COVID cases going back up, Biden has dominated the month of June. He outraised Trump in June, and it looks really good for the Biden campaign right now, which is why I don't think that this map is going to be accurate. If you look at the swing state map right now, I think that Minnesota, I'm just going to use single color for this, for each party. I think that these states are obviously going to stay blue because they're leaning that way right now, and they're not even really considered the crucial swing states in this election. I'll leave this up for grabs because the Maine second district is leaning a little bit towards the Democratic House candidate, and I don't think that even I think that because of partisan politics, if you're not voting Republican for the House ticket, even if it's a moderate House, because it would have to be in Maine, even if it's a moderate Republican in the House, that it's probably not going to go for the ultra conservative Republican for the White House. So I think that that could definitely be blue, and I also think that this Nebraska district could be blue. But I'll leave that blank for now. Biden was polling one poll he was ahead by 11%. Um, but the in the most recent poll for the House candidate in that race, it's 1% in favor of the Democrats. So it could be it's going to wind up being a toss-up. It might go for the Republicans still in that election. We'll see. So just to make it even, I'll just say Nebraska is going to be all red. Um, Let me get these labels right first. Uh, Michigan is where Biden is leading by a lot right now, so much so that 270 to win is showing he has much of a chance to win that as Minnesota or Nevada, which are also two states that are polling very much in favor of Biden. Um, and I think that'll go blue. Pennsylvania, he's lost a little bit of ground in Pennsylvania since last week, but he's still pretty concrete, pretty solidly in the lead there. I'll also make these solid red to make it easier because a lot of Democrats last month saw polling numbers that looked promising in Ohio, in Georgia, in Texas that showed Biden in the lead. They're probably not going to wind up being for Biden in the election. Um, I think that North Carolina and Arizona are going to be red. So it would leave these two states, Florida and Wisconsin. And Biden is polling very high in Florida right now, and he's polling very high in Wisconsin right now. If Biden chooses Val Demings as his VP, he is going to win Florida. I can guarantee you that Biden is going to win in Florida if he chooses Val Demings as VP. Because Val Demings is from Florida. She has very uh, uh, enlightening story. She was one of 7 kids from her family. She grew up in a poor neighborhood in northern Florida, I think near Jacksonville. Um, she's definitely going to get a lot of the moderate vote because um, she was a police chief um, originally, so it's kind of been problematic, especially with all the anti-police movements recently. But a lot of the moderate vote that isn't calling for defunding the police um, is probably going to see her as a powerful figure in the police staff. She was a police. She held her position in Orlando or near the Orlando area, but also she won the House election there by a pretty large margin, and that used to be pretty moderate territory. But when it was redistricted in favor of Democrats, she ran in her district and she won by a pretty substantial margin in the first election. And then she ran again unopposed in 2018 and won that election. Um, so I think that Florida is it's looking good for the Democrats, especially if Val Demings winds up being the VP. A lot of people are calling for Kamala Harris to be VP. We'll find out next month. I don't think Biden can really make a wrong decision in this case. He's got a committee that's going to determine this for him. If he chooses Kamala Harris, he's going to get a lot more of the Bernie vote. Um, if she chooses Val Demings, he's going to get a lot more of the Florida vote. If he chooses Stacey Abrams, he's also probably going to get more of the Florida vote, and he might even get part of the Georgia vote. If he wins Georgia, that'd also be big because then he wouldn't even need Florida, um, or Wisconsin for that matter. Or yeah, he would still need Michigan, but only slightly. And if he won this district in Nebraska, then no, he wouldn't even need Michigan. But if he could flip Georgia, that would be really big. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but yeah, right now it looks pretty good for Biden. For Trump's campaign team, this is how the strategy should look. If you look at all the swing states and you say that this goes red, and yeah, we'll say that North Carolina and Arizona stay red because it doesn't really matter. Your strategy should really be this: Wisconsin, you have to win. You do have to win Florida. You're not going to flip Nevada. You're not going to flip New Hampshire. You're going to have to win one of Michigan or Pennsylvania. What was the other state that I flipped? I must have flipped. Oh, Georgia. This only gets you to 269. You're going to need to win one of these states. You're not going to win Nevada or New Hampshire, like I said. You're not going to win New Mexico. You're going to need to reverse something in Michigan or Pennsylvania. Biden's numbers have dipped recently in Pennsylvania. So that looks like it could go red. If it keeps trending downward, it could go red, but it's probably not right now. The general consensus is that these two states will be blue, which would lead to a tie. But Wisconsin looks stronger for Biden than it does in Pennsylvania right now. But if Trump targets that state hard enough, again, in the 2016 election, we saw that even though Hillary Clinton was polling really high there right before the election, she wound up losing that state. So that should be the target. Wisconsin should be the target. Um, and if we get a tie, then Trump would win either way because of the weird tie situation in the House of Representatives. Um, so it looks good for Biden right now because he's polling ahead in Florida by a substantial amount and in Wisconsin. And he's already committed $76 million. And this is where all the campaign finance stuff comes in. Uh, Biden has already booked $76 million from June 16th through Election Day in advertising, and Trump's campaign was $26 million until he purchased $100 million more dollars worth of advertising for the fall. We'll probably see some sort of retaliation from Biden in the next few weeks. Biden is starting to outraise Trump, which is going to be crucial as the election goes on, even though Trump is pretty rich. If Biden can outfund Trump, um, in the next few months. If he can do it this month, then he can do it next month. I think yeah, he made his, in the middle of June, he made a buy for $15 million in television, digital radio, and print advertising for the 6 key battleground states. Um, he's probably going to announce sometime in the next month or two plans for the fall, which I think are probably going to exceed $100 million. They might exceed $100 million depending on how much Biden has raised so far. But even if he only trails slightly in that amount, the polling numbers, Trump did a really good job in polling as we got closer to the election, or in advertising as we got closer to the election, which led to his polling going up in return. Also, we saw that Hillary Clinton had um, in when the debate started in the fall, her polling numbers kind of dipped because um, a lot of people saw that she really wasn't the right fit for America. And that's kind of what a lot of people in swing states saw that, not necessarily in popular vote wise. And that wound up going to Hillary, or that wound up going to Trump. The election wound up going for Trump. Um, but if you look at how Trump debated versus how he talks now, and specifically talks about his enemies, it's clear that he's kind of lost it in the last few months. If you want to admit it or not, he's definitely not as coherent. It depends on how Biden will debate. Biden lost a lot of popularity during the debates, um, or during the primary season because he couldn't debate. So we'll see if the same thing happens for him um, when he's debating with Trump. But I think that what it's going to look like is he's going to come off as pretty strong compared to Trump, and the polling numbers are only going to stay the same or maybe even go up during the fall because Trump's not going to be able to defend himself. Uh, Trump can't defend himself now. He can't defend himself when there's nobody debating him. So when Trump tries to attack Biden, it's going to be on. It's going to have to be on stuff that's, you know, that's too far left for him, and then Biden's going to retaliate by saying that Trump is doing a lot worse job on these issues than I do in the eyes of Democrats and in the eyes of moderates because he is an ultra right wing conservative. Um, so it's going to be pretty hard for Trump. So we'll see how things go. I'm debating on making another one of these later in the month. I might just hold off till August when we officially get the nominations, or even right before that when Biden's VP pick is named. So we'll see. But anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments, but give a reason why. I'm not going to permit your comment if you just say Trump landslide 2020, because it's not looking like that right now. Uh, Let me go back on it once. What a Trump landslide would look like right now. This would be just, an average win. He won by about that in 2000 and uh, 2016, something like that. I don't remember. He lost one electoral vote somewhere. Um, if he could flip Nevada, if he could flip New Mexico, if he could flip New Hampshire, I guess that would warrant a landslide, but that doesn't look like the case, especially when this is what's a projection right now. And some of these, I mean, look at this. This is just a polling map right now. Shows that Wisconsin is very in favor of Biden, Michigan's in favor of Biden, Pennsylvania's in favor of Biden, and those 3 states alone would carry the election for Biden unless Trump can flip Nevada and New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is showing that it's in favor of Biden. But all of these maps, Politico, which is nonpartisan, shows it very in favor of Biden. Some show that it's tilted. Some show these are tilted towards Biden, but he's still in the lead and will only need one of these 4 states. Um, this is very in favor of Biden. This is very in favor of Biden. I mean, all of these are showing that Pennsylvania is going very in favor of Biden right now. Um, this is same since 2000. That's pretty much it in terms of the maps. But we have to kind of look at this like Pennsylvania's pretty in favor of Biden right now, and for Trump, you've got to win 4 states. For Biden, you've got to flip this district in Maine and flip this district in Nebraska, and you're at 270. And that's the road to 270 for Trump. It's going to be pretty hard for him. He's going to have to make up a lot of ground. And that's pretty much bottom line. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, let me know if you agree or disagree with my predictions in the comments below. Yeah. See you in August or later July. We'll see. Peace out, broskies.